Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Power of Power Apps webinar. I'm really excited to be here today. I'm one of the three hosts for the webinar today. My name is Jason Poyner. I'm founder and CEO of Deptive. I'm really happy that we also have Jackie and Daniel with us today. So I'll hand over to them to do a quick intro. And Jackie, look, really happy that you agreed to join us today. And if you could give a quick intro and cover off maybe one personal thing, something about yourself outside of work, that would be really, really cool. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Jason. Yep, I'm Jackie. I'm the General Manager of ICT at Oceania, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's one of New Zealand's largest aged care providers. We have roughly 45 villages and close to 3,000 employees. And we've got a real focus on innovation and technology, both for our employees, but also in terms of our residents and clinical care. So we've been working with Deptive to help us with some of that innovation. On a personal level, I'm a really keen mountain biker, so off to Rotorua for Easter, and I just really like to have something that's a big contrast to work and time away from a computer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jackie. And Daniel, if you can have a quick intro, that'd be great.
Thanks, Jason. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Daniel, and I'm modern workplace consultant and Power Platform enthusiast at Deptive. My experience in this field is a little over 8 years, which includes various clients in Europe and New Zealand. Cool fact about me is that my first language is Estonian. That can be spoken by less than 1 million people in the world. It's my own secret language.
You've got an exclusive plug there, Daniel. Thanks for the intro. So, as I said, just to finish off my intro, I'm founder and CEO of Deptive. One thing about me is that I am also a very keen mountain biker and a snowboarder as well. So I'm trying to get out for a ride somewhere around Auckland, usually once a week, maybe twice a week if I'm lucky, and spend a lot of time down at Whakapapa at Mount Ruapehu during winter, and if I'm lucky, down around Wanaka as well. A quick intro to Deptive. We're a technology company enabling people to live well and to work well. And we're doing this by creating solutions that take the stress out of technology, give people the freedom to work anywhere, and hopefully give people a little bit of time back in their day. At a more nuts and bolts level, we're all about Microsoft 365, you know, the modern device management, Teams, modern intranet, so the SharePoint and a bit of the new Microsoft Viva, and of course Microsoft process automation with Power Apps and Power Automate. Outside of M365, we're also experts with desktop virtualization, long history with Citrix and Azure Virtual Desktop and the new Windows 365, and our cloud and infrastructure team, they're all over pretty much anything Azure. Couple of key customers. Our customers are all pretty much all New Zealand based corporates, government, a few key ones: Fidelity Life Insurance, Bailey's Real Estate, OG Fiber Solutions, and of course Oceania Healthcare. All right, intro's over. Let's keep moving. So we've got a fair bit to cover off today, so we'll keep this pretty fast paced. We've got three key things that we're going to cover off with you. So you're going to learn what are Power Apps. That's where we're going to start. Then we'll get into why we love Power Apps and why you should love Power Apps as well. And the final bit, which is where we'll spend most of our time. The first two sections we're going to rip through really quickly. The final piece is, you know, actually getting practical, how to use Power Apps to automate business processes. So please, if you want, post questions along the way. We'll try to answer them. We will, all going well, leave a little bit of time at the end for a little Q&A as well. So if you don't answer your questions along the way, we'll spend a little bit of time at the end having a look. So let's get into it. So to answer this, you know, what are Power Apps? We actually thought that the real question is actually, what is the Power Platform? Because Power Apps, is part, as you can see, of the Microsoft Power Platform. And Daniel, would I be right in saying that pretty much every Power App solution that we create would include something else like Power Automate?
Yes, that's right. I think I have only been involved in a couple of projects where we only use Power Apps. Projects typically involve some type of automatization and Power Automate flows. And we use nowadays also common data service, which is called Dataverse, and AI Builder for artificial intelligence.
Yeah, great. That's what I thought, Daniel. Thank you. So we're going to quickly rip through those different areas of the Power Platform, starting with, of course, the Power App. So this is all about rapidly creating apps. It's the front end side of things. That's the way I like to think of it. It's the front end. It's the stuff that people interact with. And we'll be showing you some great examples of this as we go through. Power Automate, I like to think of as the glue. That's the back end piece. You don't really interact with the Power Automate side of things so much. It's the back end doing all the automation stuff. And as I said, with those examples, most of the examples we'll show later on have some level of Power Automate in them as well. The Power Virtual Agents, really just the simple and rapid way to create chatbots. I think until fairly recently, thinking about chatbots and looking at some sort of project would have been pretty massive, intensive, but actually there's fairly quick and easy ways to do that now with Power Virtual Agents. And it seems that everyone is, well, not everyone, every organization is using Power BI somewhere. So I can't really think of any customer I've talked to where there's not some sort of level of Power BI going on. So most of you will know, really awesome visualizations and analytics for your data. All right, so quickly summarize that. What are Power Apps? Part of Microsoft's Power Platform, a way to really rapidly create apps. And when you combine Power Apps with Power Automate, it's a really powerful automation platform and part of your Microsoft 365 or Office 365 license. But look, note the little asterisk, right? We're talking about Microsoft licensing. Actually talking about any licensing, I'm always going to be a little cautious. You need to carefully check your use case and make sure it's covered by your licensing. Though I do believe that every project we've delivered so far has been covered by existing M365 licensing. But I do know that there are some specific things where your typical M365 licensing may not cover it. So always be wary when it comes to licensing. Okay, so the second section, why we love Power Apps. Now, each of us presenters, the three of us, we all have different backgrounds, and at a professional level, we've got different focuses as well. So it'll be interesting to hear as we go through the different perspectives that each of us have. And look, I'll start off, from my background. I'm really excited about Power Apps because I see how rapidly we can get solutions in, how rapidly we can see results by using Power Apps and Power Automate. And the results really do make organizations more efficient and make them more competitive. That's what we're seeing. And I think the reason that side of it excites me so much is that I'm from an infrastructure background, right? So when I was an engineer, I was all about, the server side and the desktop side. And sometimes it was quite hard to see the real business benefits of the work that happened. I mean, if you're upgrading a server to the latest Microsoft operating system, what real benefit is there to the end users? Sure, it needs to be done. You need to stay in support. You need to make sure things are secure, but it's pretty hard to show a strong return on investment. But later on, we'll show how with Power Apps, you can get a really clear return on investment. And we've got an example where we got a 320% return on investment. And so that part of it makes me excited. And with me now, with my role being very involved in the customer conversations and lining up the work for the team, it makes my conversations really easy, right? When I can talk about a technology and a solution that clearly helps organizations. So let's flip that over to Jackie. Jackie, I'd love to hear your thoughts as a senior IT manager for a pretty large organization. What's impressed you about Power Apps?
Well, Jason, I think the biggest benefit for us really is just that it's part of our IT environment. So it falls under our security framework. It's linked to our employees, so we don't need to maintain a separate user list and logins, single sign-on, onboarding, offboarding. It's all taken care of. And obviously, as Jason mentioned, it's included in our Microsoft licensing, so just a one-off CapEx for the build, and then the rest is already part of our monthly subscription. So that keeps the CFO happy as well. And then also because we can rapidly deploy basically a bespoke application, it makes the IT team look great, and we all like that.
Indeed, I like that. I like keep the CFO happy and make the IT team look great. It sounds like a win. And Daniel, you've got a much more technical perspective. So I'm really keen to hear from your point of view why you love Power Apps and the Power App platform.
Yeah, there are many reasons, but the most important reasons for me are we can build Power App application really, really, really fast, as you mentioned, Jason, as well. Power Apps can be created by anyone, as it is a low-code, no-code development platform. It is fully extensible. We can create Power App components, custom code components, and reuse them from application to application. Power Apps are easy to integrate with different services. There are over 300 connectors that can be used to connect different sources. And if there is no connector, for example, no problem. Microsoft allows to create them and bring into the Microsoft environment.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. And I think this webinar is called the Power of Power Apps, and I think some of what you just said, really does show the power, right, from being rapid to create things out of the box. You've got those 300 connectors, but then if you need to go further, actually, hey, the door's wide open, right? So you can really get under the hood and create your own connectors, and that becomes a lot more technical, but is very, very powerful. Excellent. Hey, so as I thought, as I thought, the three of us have quite different lenses to look at Power Apps. Me as coming from a Microsoft partner, running an IT services company, very heavily involved in sales. Jackie is a person responsible for delivering quality IT services out to a demanding workforce. Daniel is a consultant and developer tasked with creating the actual solutions. But whichever lens we look through, I think we got some great reasons, and a few of them summarized there around why we love Power Apps, and hopefully a few of those reasons also resonate with you. Ooh, all right, we're ripping through. So this is, as I said, we wanted to rip through those first two sections and spend a little bit more time now getting a little bit more practical, looking at actually how do you use Power Apps to automate business processes, and showing you some real life examples. So Daniel, this is a demo that you created to showcase the Power Platform, right? So perhaps you can just tell us a little bit about that before we then, have a look at that demo.
Sure. In today's first demo, we will go through the event registration application to show you how we can use the low-code platform combined with different Microsoft services to build business application in very short amount of time. I think it's worth mentioning that this particular application took only me several hours to create this app, which is not comparable to the time it would take to use the Pro Code development method. The event registration application includes the complete event registration process, from registering to the event to scanning the QR code to confirm registration. Very similar to cinemas. You buy a movie ticket, you receive the movie details with the QR code to your email. You go to the cinema where the doorman scans the code to see if the ticket is valid and then let you in or not. Yeah, it's very, very, very simple application, but it just shows how fast we can put something together.
And I think another way to look at it, if you were running corporate events, right, you could do the same sort of thing for corporate events and use the same type of solution.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, look, let's jump in and have a bit more of a look at this. And Daniel, can you talk people through this short video? Then afterwards, we'll spend a little bit more time breaking down actually, what was happening behind the scenes.
Yep.
Over to you.
So the process begins with the creation of Microsoft form that contains all questions we want to ask from participants, such as name, organization, email address, phone number, and so on. Once the participant has submitted the form, the information is saved to SharePoint. All participants will receive an email with the details of the event and unique QR code to check in for the event. On the day of the event, when the participant shows up at the door, someone scans their QR code using the phone and the Power App, then sees all the details like name, organization, email, same what was entered in the form. And then we can complete the progress by checking function that updates the SharePoint item accordingly. Excellent.
Cool. What I like about this is how you've brought together a whole bunch of Microsoft services into this demo, which is really cool. So let's have a little bit more of a look under the hood. So as you said, right, we're starting off with a Microsoft form here.
Yes, so Microsoft Forms is used to get answers to questions from participants to register to the event. Again, those questions can vary on the customer's requirements questions.
Cool. And then what we've shown here is this Power Automate, the back end glue piece, right? So this is where you've created all those logic steps.
Yeah. So yeah, once the form is submitted, Power Automate kicks in with a bunch of actions, such as it creates the QR code, sends an email to participants with the details and QR code attached, and then saves the information to SharePoint as well.
So in this example, we can actually see while we're talking about Power Apps and a Power App is part of this, which we'll show soon. Really, the core functionality is actually in the Power Automate side of things, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
So as you said, right, what happens next from that flow, that Power Automate, is that an email is sent out with that QR code that we showed before. And then what's this showing us here, Daniel?
Also, one of the actions what the Power Automate does is that all the information will be saved into SharePoint.
Yeah, right. So that's the SharePoint list there. So
yeah,
people don't, interact with this. This is just us showing what's happening in that SharePoint list behind the scenes. And then on the day of the event, the person turns up and there's the person at the door or the door to your corporate event, and they have the event registration app. So this is actually the Power App side of it, right?
Yes, that's right. So a person who does the scan can see the details and then complete the registration process by checking in the user.
Yeah, and then when it's done, you'll see that you know, the back end SharePoint list has been updated. You can see that checked in equals yes now.
Yeah.
So what did you say, Daniel? You say this was just a few hours work for you?
Yeah, that's true. So it just for this particular application I built for this event, and yeah, it took me a couple of hours.
Very impressive. So if you had some more time, what would you do from here? You know, how would you further extend this, do you think?
Good question. I probably extend the solution by adding Power BI for analysis, or we can create a bot, for example, using virtual agent that allows participants to ask questions about the event. That could be the option.
Nice. And then the Power BI piece would be used to, you know, I guess while people are still registering, the Power BI piece would give you that visibility, right? Of going, hey, how many people have registered? What days of the week are they registering? Sort of all of that analytics side, right? That's what the Power BI could be used for.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Thank you. Let's now have a look at the next one that we have got here. And hey, Daniel, can you do me a favor and just change the live view for me? My controls don't seem to be working right now. Just while we have a look at that, let's continue. So, Jackie, let's have a chat about that CapEx approval app that we created for you.
Yeah.
And if we can start by you telling us, you know, what was the problem that you had? You know, why were you looking for a new solution?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. So we had a legacy application which was built to deal with our CapEx approvals. So as I mentioned, we have 45 villages and purchase a lot of equipment. So depending on the value of that purchase, it needs to go to the appropriate person for that spend to be approved. And so it's a relatively simple process, but you know, like most things underneath the hood, it was a bit more complex. It needed some good smarts behind it, a lot of different scenarios that needed to be catered with. Anyway, where we were at was that we'd made the move to Azure, and this application was no longer a good fit. It had a few fundamental issues. It was relatively high annual licensing costs and no mobility, the main thing. You had to log into a separate desktop to access it. So we knew that we needed to replace it, and unfortunately our licensing was coming up for renewal really quickly, so we had to act fast, otherwise we'd be stuck paying for another full year. So we approached Deptive, mainly because we'd worked with Daniel before, so we knew that he had the skills we needed. But this was our first Power Apps project, so whilst we thought it was a good approach, we really came to Deptive with the problem rather than the solution, and just trusted that they would confirm whether we really should be going down this track or not. Obviously, they did recommend Power Apps, so I wouldn't be here, but the reasons for that is that it was just ideal for filling that gap where, you know, we wanted to automate a business process. In this case, we had previously automated it, but we didn't really need the full functionality of an off-the-shelf application with all the bells and whistles and therefore the cost that would come with that. Also, we were really happy with our current business process. We didn't actually want to change it. We just wanted to update the application and perhaps throw in a few improvements. So Power Apps was perfect. It was something that was already part of our environment. As we said before, we didn't have to try and shoehorn it in and have yet another application that we needed to manage. And we're really pleased with the end result. The design and build process was quick and painless. We were able to set up a test environment and make it available to test users really easily. And actually, as we went through that UAT process, we found that because everything was so intuitive to use, we didn't even need to provide training. People would just get it. And actually, that's exactly what did happen. We did some simple comms. We were able to embed it inside Teams, which we use as an organisation. And then it was also available on people's mobile phones through the Power Apps app, which was something that they didn't have before and people had been crying out for. But to have the Power Apps app already there in the App Store ready to download just made that process really simple as well. And at that time, those factors were really important to us because we had a lot of change fatigue in the organisation, mostly thanks to COVID. As you can imagine, as an aged care provider, there's a lot of additional burdens put on our staff, and we had a lot of other IT changes going on at the same time. So having that easy deployment was something that we really appreciated and made this nice and painless, which was great. So as a result, we just we're now thinking about what other business processes we'd like to automate, and we'll be looking at Power Apps to as a solution for those as well. So we're quite looking forward to what else we can do in the future. It's definitely put us on this path.
That's a great story, Jackie. Moving from that that costly app that you had and no mobility and extra logins for users, and moving through to a solution which was really easy for the end users and very easy to adopt, already licensed for. Yeah, what a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks, Jason.
And to finish off that, we'll have a quick look at that app. And Daniel, if you can just walk us through this one, that would be really, really awesome.
Yeah, sure. The home screen of the app is allowing users to see all the CapEx requests they have requested. The screen shown here is submitting a new expense request. It asks main details of the request, such as who is requesting it, which facility the expense belongs to, what is the unit price and quantity, and so on. This form contains many different cascading options and validation rules to ensure that the data is always accurate. Once the form is submitted, the approver of the selected facility will receive an email stating that the application is waiting approval. All submitted requests can be viewed in detail, and the creator of the request can edit if it's not approved yet. The approver have their own screen where they can see all the requests which are assigned to them. They can easily approve or decline the request from the same screen or do it through the request detail screen. Once the request is approved, Power Automate will update the budgets accordingly in the background as well. The app has an admin section as well that helps easily archive all CapEx requests of the previous financial year and start the new financial year from the clean page. Everything is responsive. It can be used in mobile phone, Teams, or browser. All the information is stored in SharePoint list. There are also many helper configuration lists that makes the application easy to configure.
Awesome, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, good to see that in real life. Hey, and just let everybody know as well that we have a case study about this work that we've done for Oceania. So I believe that's going to be sent to everyone attending this session. I think it's fairly hot off the press, and it will be up on our website soon if it's not already. Let's have a look at another one that we've done as well. So this one here is COVID vaccination passport verifier. We had the CIO of a large manufacturing company contact us. It was December last year, and it was really only a few weeks after that level 4 lockdown ended in Auckland. And he was concerned about the safety of their people and the impact that a COVID outbreak could have on their operations and their manufacturing facilities. So they wanted to keep a record of the vaccination status and the COVID test status. So the results from the COVID tests for their employees and also contractors and visitors. We jumped on a call with him and quickly decided that we could help, we could do something. And Daniel, can you remind me, like, how long approximately did it take you to get that first version of the COVID app created for the customer?
It took about 2-3 days, after which we deployed the application to client's UAT environment. So yeah.
Wow, 2 or 3 days you had something with them in UAT. That is rapid. And then from there on, there were several rounds of improving and testing over a period of weeks as we went through UAT, then going into production. But it's a great example of how quickly you can move with Power Apps. So again, let's have a quick look at this. Daniel, can you walk us through this one as well, please?
Sure. COVID vaccination passport verifier. So the application contains multiple buttons and forms to record information about the person. Is the person who is entering the building is employee, visitor, contractor? What is the evidence type? Is it the passport QR code? Is it RAT or PCR test? The main function of the application is to validate the vaccine passports by scanning the passport QR code. After we have done the scan, we send a request to the NZ Health API to get the response about the status of the vaccination passport. After that, we can add some more details like location, preferred name, expiry date, and so on. Information about the user and the status of the vaccination is stored in SharePoint. This allows administrators to see if the person providing the evidence is already stored in the data source and if the vaccination passport has expired or needs to be updated. As mentioned earlier, the application allows to capture vaccination evidences such as RAT and PCR tests by taking photo of the evidence. So all the details in SharePoint, where we also created some useful list views to help administrators to quickly find and see useful information from them if needed. One of them is, for example, the calendar view, which shows when the vaccination passports or evidences going to expire. And in addition, we created a few Power Automate flows that archives expired records in a scheduled basis.
Excellent. Thanks, Daniel. And good to see that we've got Peter Jackson working for us now as well. That's a good hire. Let's move through to our last one that we've got here. So Bailey's Real Estate, we've been working with Bailey's since about 2014, about eight odd years, I think. So it was quite fitting that they were actually one of our first Power Platform engagements was with them. So the problem they had was that they had this was for one particular business unit, they were getting over 100 invoices per month via email, and that was just coming through to one person's inbox. And the process was very manual and really inconsistent. This person was saving invoices, the attachments off into a folder, forwarding things to the various managers to review and approve. There'd be questions backwards and forwards and emails and chats. Eventually things would be approved, and this person would then forward those out to a third party to process the invoices. So you can imagine that was pretty time consuming, but also mistakes were being made. It was just too manual. And the result then, of course, is that some invoices were being lost along the way, not being paid on time. So we met up with them, and it was good that they already had a process, that manual one. So we sat down with them to understand, what are they doing? What is that manual process? How can we automate that? And then using technologies we've been talking about, SharePoint, Power Apps, Power Automate, everything that they were already licensed for, we created a invoice processing automation solution. And as a result of this, once this had been put in place, the person whose job it was to do this, we saved 70% of that person's time which is pretty amazing. And that's where we were able to do a calculation for a return on investment. So we calculated that that was a 320% return on investment in that first year. And there's a lot less error handling as well. Not even only did it save time, but a lot less errors, a lot less rehandling of information. And the cool thing, and this is, on the back of what Jackie said before as well, is, once what we're seeing is that once there's a success and IT has shown the business how these solutions can help them and solve real problems, then all of a sudden, all of these other opportunities come out of the woodwork. And so we've got this program of automation work now with Bailey's, and since this one, we've already delivered another 2 or 3, and then there's another program of work with a whole handful of other automations that are kicking off soon. So it's been a really, really, really awesome journey with Bailey's. Whew, there we go. All right, let's wrap it up. So let's share the wrap-up responsibilities. So we started with what are Power Apps? Daniel, can you remind us what are Power Apps?
Yeah, sure. Power Apps are custom business application that connects the data and work across the web and mobile. And Power Apps uses a low-code, no-code development method that allows them to create very, very quickly.
Nice one. Thank you, Daniel. And then we talked about why we love Power Apps, and hopefully we might have convinced a few of you out there that you love Power Apps as well. Jackie, perhaps you can remind us of a few reasons why we love Power Apps.
Sure, that's an easy one. It's low cost, you get fast results, and it makes the IT team look good.
And I love that last one, making the IT team look good. That's one of my learning over the years. If you can make people look good, then those people will be very, very happy. So that's a good one. And then finally, we showed you how to use Power Apps with some great real demos, some real world examples. So that just about wraps it up. We've just got a few minutes left if there are any questions out there. So not sure if anything's come through. We'll just have a quick look at the Q&A and see if anything's come through. Oh, look, actually, here's one. So let me read this out. So the question is, I understand Power Apps are low code, but how much coding experience is really required? So Daniel, well, actually, you know what? I have actually done a little bit. So as I said, my background is I'm IT engineer. So from my point of view, my experience with Power Apps and Power Automate, actually my experience is more with Power Automate. I haven't really done the Power Apps. So I've done the Power Automate, the back-end automation piece. I've played around and created a few simple ones. My experience, and I do have a little bit of coding background, not a lot, a little bit. I've done some PowerShell scripts and VB scripts, and I did learn a little bit of C and Pascal kind of when I did my training a very long time ago. But I'm no coder, that's for sure. My experience is that you can do simple things pretty easily with very little coding experience. You could set up automations where when an email comes into my inbox, save that attachment out somewhere or kick off something else. But also my experience is that once I tried doing slightly more complex things, then yes, I did actually have to start getting into more of a coding level, and it was a bit more challenging. What's your thoughts on that one, Daniel?
What makes me so confident to say that non-coder can learn to create Power Apps is that Microsoft has made education, documentation, and training a central part of the user experience on the Power App platform. So there's so much different resources to begin with. But saying that, if you want to create the business critical solution, I recommend always to first contact experts in this field to learn best practice and governance of the Power Platform, because otherwise it can get pretty messy pretty fast.
Cool, thanks. I don't think we've got any other questions in there. I see someone commented that they might see me on the slopes at Whakapapa Rotorua, which would be great. You know, if anybody sees me up there, say hi. So I think we'll wrap it up. We were hoping to finish up within about 3/4 of an hour. We're at 40 minutes, so good to give people a couple of minutes back in their day. So thank you very much, Jackie and Daniel, for being part of this presentation today. Really enjoyed having you guys involved. Thanks to everybody out there who attended and joined this webinar. Thanks for everybody's questions. We had a couple of questions. Actually, we've just had another question come in that we'll see if we can squeeze in, shall we, as we wrap up. What's the best approach to Power Apps governance as people become enthusiastic to create them? Deciding on what to create and who is responsible. So we've got one that's just snuck in. So Daniel, thoughts on that Power Apps governance? And I know for large customers that is a challenge.
It is indeed, and this is pretty big topic, and usually we cover like half an hour regards to governance just alone. But yeah, I guess from my point of view, it's always there's two simple things. So basically, first of all your Power Platform environment should be in place, that you don't create a bunch of applications just in one default environment, and then if it's a business critical application, you make some change, then everyone is affected of this change. And if you break it, then you break it for all of the organizational users. So that's why it's always the good approach is to have a different environments. You have development environment, test environment, you have production environment, and then you move the solutions accordingly from one to another. And also, everyone don't need to be necessarily part of each environment. So if you have development environment, only developers or who is actually creating those applications needs to be part of it.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. And I know this is a big topic, and you know, we've got some customers where they are into Power Apps and Power Automate in a very, very big way. I think some of them thousands of Power Automate. So it's a big topic, and I think, Daniel, you've touched on a few key things there. But if there are more questions around that, then absolutely, you know, reach out to us and we can have another conversation around this. All right, as I was saying, time to wrap up. Thank you again, Daniel, Jackie. Thanks to everybody who's attended. Thanks for the questions. Reminder that everyone who's registered will receive a recording of this event, as well as that case study for Oceania Healthcare and the awesome work we've done there. So thank you again. We'll leave you at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.